Hello, everyone, and welcome to Infinite Integration, where infinite possibility meets daily practice. I'm Tanys Coughlan from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I am joined by the beautiful Jacqueline Richards.
Hey, good day, good day. I'm Jacqueline Richards, who gets to be author of Yoga for Your Personal Finances. When we're not talking about mortgages, I do a lot of yoga. I would love for everyone who's here to come out and do some namaste with me, some asanas with me. And I love my students who say, oh, are we going to do headstands today? And it's that pregnant pause. You know what I mean? That pregnant pause. Is she going to say yes? Or is she going to say no?
Doesn't it go the other way? I think you used to ask that. Are we going to do some headstands today? And we all kind of looked at you like, are you crazy?
With love.
Yeah. Heck no, we're not doing that.
Really, the answer is for everyone. When you forget to lift your shoulders, take them back, drop them down, maybe the answer is, how about tomorrow?
Just not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. That was my response.
Okay, great response.
So we want to welcome you all for joining us. And today we are talking about a few things. About stability and expansion is what our topic is today. So what does that mean? Expansion versus stability versus, balancing earth and ether is our title. So, being entrepreneurs, that's a thing for us. We have to pay attention to being ungrounded in business, because business is that balance, especially when it's like our spiritual business. Do you know what I mean? We have to, because we need to be spiritual and all of that stuff, but there needs to be the grounding involved in that too. And I think some people think that they are not congruent, and yet you can be grounded and be spiritual at the same time. In fact, that's often the best way. So, Jacqueline, when life or business begins to expand for you, and it's going quickly, what kind of practices do you do to help yourself feel aligned?
Absolutely. And I have to say, I'm tickled. Every time we connect with infinite integration, there's always that headline. So when I take a look at it's when we're talking about balancing earth and ether, some people aren't sure what ether is, but they certainly know what earth is. Mm-hmm. And taking a look, so we will talk about the asanas later, because I'll suggest things to bring you into balance, maybe one or two things to bring you into balance. Thank you for asking, when business expands, was it an intentional expansion? Do entrepreneurs see it coming? So you look at your bank account and you think, I had on my line 150. Oh my gosh, that's my taxes. On my line 150, I had that number. And I'm halfway into the year and I'm at that number. How did I get there? Do entrepreneurs ask themselves that question? How did I get there?
Well, it's an important one.
It's an incredibly important one, because clearly you've done things the way you needed to have happen.
Yeah.
When you're expanding, do you have your virtual assistants in place? Do you have your staff in place? Staff that love the company as much as you do? Is that how you expanded, because the energy said, we love you too? And I know at some moment we're going to talk, if it's not an expansion, and on that line 150, it's half of what you'd hoped. Where do you go from there?
Well, that's when we have to really ground, right? Grounding the process and business planning.
Absolutely.
All of that stuff. How are we going to go forward with that?
Yeah. Well, any way you look at it, isn't grounding a great place to be? When we think about grounding while expanding. Many of my clients who that has happened to and with, and not only are they ungrounded in places they thought they would get to, there they thought they would make it to that place, but maybe they didn't, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. That shifts financially, that shifts, like you said, spiritually, but also physically. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Sometimes, oh my gosh, are you taking those long, deep breaths? No, you're not. They're short. Sometimes they hurt. Energetically, we want to think about when you wanted to reach a little higher than expected, when you wanted to stay grounded more than people had said you should be. Is it about taking a look at integrating more mind so that you know how that happened? Did you want to integrate more heart spirit? Because I will tell you, when you've got love for yourself and you know that people love the energy around you, which could be the online, offline business,
Yeah.
could be. Does anyone want to hear could be, Jacqueline? It is or it isn't. Isn't that Yoda?
Wait, it's trying. Trying. Either you are or you aren't. You're not trying. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. Yeah. I had a mentor say that to me.
Yeah.
So I have used it since, actually, because it is true. Like, either you have the intention of doing it,
Yeah.
which is you are doing it.
Yeah.
You might not be actively acting on it, but you are doing it. Like, you're making a decision to do it, or you're making a decision not to, or you're thinking about it. Right? I'm contemplating it or whatever, but not a trying. There's kind of a difference there.
Yeah. Can we take a look at maybe when some are not feeling grounded and they think it would be great not to have their family involved, but maybe not their friends involved, but third parties who are saying, we have nothing to gain but to offer you tips and tricks and support. I don't believe we talked about mastermind groups. I don't think that in this space we've talked about mastermind groups. And when I think about the ether and earth, I think about having a mastermind group around me that are wanting to find the honesty in what they're offering, honesty and success. And some may take a look at that and, like I do, it's a trifecta. The trifecta, heart, mind, spirit, all come together. But and include the currency in that space. Wouldn't that be groovy? We've got our mind in place, the money in place, and the body is saying, this is all right. You're allowing me to be grounded, and you're allowing me to reach the heights that dreams are made of, reaching the heights that people said you can't get there, but you said I can.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about a mastermind. Like, what does that mean? Because many people might not know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
So many masters and leaders used mastermind to get where they were. And some might, I'm going to call out names that people probably know, like Bill Gates, when he was in grade 8. He created a mastermind group to help him get to that place. I think we know who Bill Gates is. Uh-huh. What we might not know is that there is a non-for-profit group, and it started in Chicago. And it was a couple of guys who hung out in a garage. You know, it's Saturday night, and they're having their scotch, not in this glass, but they're having their scotch and smoking their cigars. And they're thinking, my community, our community needs help. What are we going to do? And they sat and they talked and they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go find help. And that was the beginning of the Rotary Club.
Okay.
There are so many stories. I mean, the Wright brothers, they needed that energy. And people that we know here in our communities, Tanys, I'll talk about ESACs. How did that happen? It was this guy who loves to play his instrument who realized there is so much more in his community. So he had his mini mastermind, and he's maximized where he is, as we all see, know, and love. And all of us as business owners, entrepreneurs, we want to have that mastermind group. You know, I am with Futurepreneur, and I suggest to all of my mentorees, find the people who are going to support you. So when I talk about earth and ether, isn't it great to have them all combined together and find ways to expand the way they'd like to?
Yeah, that is true.
We get to find balance.
Balance. So you teach balance.
Yes,
teach balance in movement and in money. So what parallels do you see between like grounding the body in yoga and like grounding ourselves in like financial fitness?
Yeah. Well, I have a great, and he's part of my mastermind group. He's an amazing accountant. So we're talking about balance, right? When I talked about entrepreneurs and they're looking at their line 150 on their, the things that we send to CRA, to Revenue Canada. And this gentleman helps them understand how to find balance, because they started out, we'll say, they started out with $100,000. It was a loan for them to get to the $1 million. They have 50,000, nowhere near the million. They need to have a conversation with the accountant to say, we have to submit documents. How shall we do that? What's next what's in your next steps? How do we find balance there? I'm going to call in people who are going to help me do what I have no idea how to get there. And then I have people like you, Tanys, who know experts, who know people who will find a way. Say, Jacqueline, I think you don't know the opportunities that are in place for you. Stop hiding. Stop looking. Start looking. Yeah. So I love my accountant, and I love Tanys, who's going to help me get to that $1 million moment. My mastermind helps me get there. The only thing that they really need to have is me being open and honest about where I want to go. And everyone, those who are here, I bet you don't know you have a mastermind sitting in front of you. I bet you have no idea. Take a look, take a breath, take a long, deep breath, lift the shoulders, take them back, drop them down. You know, they're all there for you. And in yoga, if I asked you to come into a tree, talk about planting roots, getting grounded. In that beautiful tree pose, you stand tall or you sit. You'll allow one leg to rise and you'll balance. In your mind, in your breath, you need to help the body allow that space. You need to allow the body to hold you, support you. And that's what we do so much with our finances, right? We stand in tree pose, and while the leaves are shaking, growing, or falling, that's what you'll consider when you have papers in place, bills in line, invoices. And don't be afraid to ask for the invoice. Don't be afraid to ask for the money. Because wait a minute, you planted the seeds. You had the soil. You decided that you'd be grounded. And that ether is going to allow you to ask the question, where's my money?
Where's the money? What was that movie that we had? Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. But you have to say it with that, show me the money. I know people are watching this go like, oh my gosh.
Jacqueline.
What is she thinking? What is she thinking? On a side note, Jerry Maguire, there were two others who are received Life Achievement Awards in the Academy Awards. And Tom Cruise won one of the awards.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's cool.
interesting,
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you talk about mastermind, it brings to mind community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, with what I do, the community is so important, who we have
Yeah,
around us in our community.
yeah.
Like I'm blessed to have you in my community, beautiful people like Jennifer Tchaikovsky. And
Oh my
there's so
gosh, yeah,
many,
yeah.
in my community now that I can't even begin to start naming them all. But, um, you know, it's so, it's so amazing to know that you have these people. There's
Mm-hmm.
some particular groups that we have that are
Yeah.
like smaller groups within the community that are
Mm-hmm.
so supportive of each other. There's just so much love there, and for me, that is grounding. As
It
you
is.
expand, you have these groups that really ground you
Yeah,
into what we do, right?
exactly.
So,
And they don't have to be a couple of steps from you or an hour's drive from you or an
yeah,
8-hour flight, maybe anywhere. We
absolutely,
we created this place where we can connect with everyone all the time, which is what you and I are doing right now.
exactly.
Maybe my family in the States are listening to this thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not Jacqueline, I'm Jackie. Jackie, look what she's doing. Look at her.
It's funny, I mean, when you speak about expansion, that for me, COVID did that, because it did allow us to
Yeah.
go online with so many things.
Mhm.
And it was really about that sort of introspection. How am I going to go from this really grounded, like Reiki practice in Ottawa
Yeah,
to this expanded kind of version of what we do now, right? Which is
exactly.
it. And so that's keeping grounded during that process was an interesting process. It was
Very.
how do I, and then when COVID stopped, it was how do I go back to having the balance between having an in-person practice and an online practice, and what does that look like,
Yeah.
right? And that was kind of trying to find the balance within that spiritual work for me as well. And
And while you made that comment, I have to, because you've just cultivated a question.
mhm,
So you work with such expansive energies, but you also work with galactic and etheric energies.
mhm.
How do you personally anchor that level of consciousness, that level of consciousness into this physical world?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I think in many ways it's about how I explain things too. I I'm a teacher at heart, and so when I
Yeah,
teach, one of the things I try to do is take these concepts that are really like out there and bring them into this grounded sort of vocabulary so that people can grasp it that might not have the same kind of spiritual vocabulary. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because there's it, every line of work you're in, there's like this vocabulary that goes with it, right? So like my
right.
HR work has this particular vocabulary that
Yeah,
goes with it, and then my spiritual work has this particular vocabulary that goes with it. But one of the things I really try to do is make sure that for new people, for instance, that we meet them where they are
yeah,
on that journey. They may not know all of this like spiritual vocabulary. So bringing it down to like, okay, so, when we talk about this, this is what we mean.
yeah,
And so for me, grounding stuff in that expansion, it did mean stepping into more teaching. And every time I teach, I learn, right?
yeah,
It's so for me, that's how it's grounding for me because I learn. If I'm not learning the topic because I've taught it a bunch of times, I'm learning other stuff from my students because when I teach, it's very much about, okay, so tell me, how are you doing? What's going on for you? Right?
yeah.
And bringing those things together. And in that way, sometimes I would say my classes would be similar to your masterminds
Mhm.
in that way, right? Because you're getting input from other people in terms of
100%.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
what's
like
your experience of this?
Yeah,
you know?
it's like the seventh chakra. So we're all teachers, we're all students.
Yeah.
I love when you think, just when you think you've got it all, there's more to learn. We know there's more to learn.
The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. That really is, it's often how I feel. The more
Oh,
I learn, the less I realize I know, for sure. Yeah.
oh, beautiful. And I have to ask, there is this wonderful woman who I've been having coffee with, and she told me that she studied shamanics. And I said, I know someone who does shamanic theory too. And have you met Tanys Coughlan yet? So here it is. As I'm having this conversation and we're having coffee, there was a fair amount of caffeine in the coffee. So we shook a little. And then it came to, what does stability in expansion, because she's an entrepreneur as well, what
Mhm.
does it look like from a shamanic or a multidimensional? Because that was the confirmation, a multidimensional uh, perspective. And especially when, I think you said it, when someone feels called to grow
Mhm.
beyond their comfort level. Because, I was talking about expansion in company, not sure it happened, but maybe it didn't. But how do you help people find a place beyond their comfort level?
Well, I would say, much like you do with your vision board sessions,
Hmm.
right? You have
Yeah,
them expand on their dream. So whatever they think they want to dream, okay, now go bigger.
yeah,
Now go bigger.
yeah.
And I think in my individual practice and classes, it's more about like um, taking people's, we go through life like this, and it's like taking
Yeah,
people's
we do.
blinders and kind of peeling them back a little bit, right? And sometimes that can be a little bit scary because they're like, oh, there's all of that as well. Like that's, oh, okay. I didn't realize all this was happening in the other dimensions, right? They didn't know
Yeah,
there was other dimensions. And so when you start to do that, that takes them out of their comfort
mm,
zone. But once
yeah,
they get comfortable with it, then you're like, oh, that is an expansion. I now all of a sudden realize there's so many more things in my reality than there was before. And so that's a great way to get people to start to expand is just give them an experience, really. I mean, that's one thing that the guides have been very helpful. And I'm going to get to this question here as well because I think it's quite pertinent. Um, the the guides are very helpful in bringing in and helping me to create experiences for my clients or my students or people attending the events, because really experiences is how we learn to embody the knowledge that's outside of our usual comfort zone, right?
yeah.
So there's a question here from Pogo Pogo. Hey, Kaylee.
Okay.
Um, could our spirit guides be considered part of our mastermind group? So like a 3D and etheric supporters. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. I think that is a big part of why we become spiritual because we want their
Yeah.
advice. We want to seek their input. It's why we learn how to channel. It's why we tap into our intuitive hits because they have, I say, perfect knowledge. They have perfect knowledge and no ability to like pick this up and move it. We have the perfect ability to pick this up and move it, but we don't have perfect knowledge. We don't see big pictures as humans, right?
Mhm.
We see like we see our little reality, our perception of reality, right? And so that's kind of it. When we can tap into their knowledge, it
Yeah,
creates a greater understanding, much like you do with a mastermind group. So I do
absolutely.
think
Yeah.
that's great. And hi, Laura, welcome. Can you be a little more specific, please? Because we do have a little bit of a delay in getting the questions. So if you could please let us know what does that mean? What is the that in that phrase, please? What
Yeah.
was it you were asking about? So, yeah, so that's,
So-
I think that's absolutely a wonderful idea, including them in that. And it brings back an experience that I had one time. I was sort of on a planning committee for a school, a different school, and we started doing our business planning, and we start getting into, I have these big sheets that I put up, and then we start like a brainstorming session at first, right? What do we want to do? What do we want
yeah.
to do in this area? What do we want to do in this area? What do we want to do in this area? So we started that experience, and then all of a sudden the guides decided they were coming in, and they were like, um, "That's okay, Laura. You can share it if you're needing an answer. I'm happy
Oh,
with that."
come one, come all.
Yeah, no, it's totally good if you feel comfortable sharing. If not, then that's okay. We can talk about it in the next session. But I, it's totally fine. I'm happy to answer
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, so it was very cool because they actually like came in and started channeling through one of the other people we were that was working with me on this in this meeting. And so there's me trying to take notes, trying to the notes that the guys are telling me. That was a few years ago. So it was before we could actually like put a recording into Chat GPT or put it into Otter AI
Ah,
and have them write
yeah,
it up.
yeah.
Because that would have been way easier, I have to say. But um,
Pens are still great. Pens are
they
still great.
are. They are. Okay, so it was the question about 3D and mastermind.
Mhm.
Was just curious more about what the question means and your answer. Okay, well maybe that's so the 3D mastermind is when we have Jacqueline was talking about that at the beginning, where we bring in
Yeah,
the our friends, our
yeah,
other subject matter experts, and we all get together so that we can, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be. Do you
yeah,
guys have suggestions?
yeah,
Basically, it's kind of what a mastermind is.
yeah.
And
If I could
so,
explain, I have a 90-day mastermind, and I have no more than 12 people sit at my boardroom table because everyone has a goal to get to. So that's what I do in my mastermind.
yeah, and so doing it in terms of with the guides and
Mhm.
having that involved, it's just
Yeah.
you're giving them a seat at the table, which is what happened in that experience that I
Yeah,
had, where they just came in and decided, okay, we're going to just start.
yeah.
I'm going to give you some information. Take this down. And so that's what we did. Yeah.
No telex machine, eh? No telex machine.
Not at
Okay.
the time. I was typing away though, working
Yeah,
away.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think process is another way that we can sort of ground ourselves when we get to expand. So when we
yeah,
expand, so this is where my HR hat is coming in. So when you're starting to expand a business and you're starting to hire more people, and now you need to train those people in order to make sure that they have the same understanding and this, everybody's got
yeah,
shared values, a shared understanding of where you want to go.
yeah,
Well, as an entrepreneur and you're hiring people, you need to have a clear understanding of where you're going and what you
yeah,
want this to look like so that you can have buy-in from the people that you're bringing on.
yeah,
And so in order to do that, you're doing business planning, you're doing process planning, all of those things, because all of a sudden you're not the only one in the process, and you've got to make sure that everybody else knows exactly what they need to do, or there will be steps missed. And I think this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs, when they first start,
hmm,
don't step into. They don't think about the process piece, and then
yeah,
they feel like they have to do everything themselves because people are missing things. Well, they're missing things because they might not know the whole process
yeah,
of how it's supposed to be played out, how
yeah,
you see it playing out, right? So what I often do with HR clients is really put that in and talk to them about, so when you do it, how do you do it? And let's write that out. Let's draw it in a diagram. Let's get those swim lanes going and put that in place.
yeah,
And then identify who's doing which thing. Is there
yeah,
something in your little swim lane? Swim lanes is just a way of, you have lines on a page, and each line is a person. And so you move these
uh,
tasks up and down on the swim lanes, depending on who's doing what. Anyway, so you decide on who's doing what and what does that look like, and then it's on paper, so everybody kind of knows, right? So that's a way to ground some of those things in when we're expanding quickly. If it's business and that sort of thing, that's one way to start to do that. Those are some of those little everyday.
Exactly. Now, if we're talking about our zodiac signs, then we know who is really interested in process, who's interested in policies and procedures, who's interested in sales. I was with a great company, when I came into the mortgage industry, and the whole team. So we were mortgage managers, sat down with the whole team and had us understand that we are all entrepreneurs, and we needed to take a look at who our directors were. So we had, who's your director of HR, Jacqueline, and who's your director of sales and marketing, and who's your ops, and who is your lead, and who is. So we had 7. We had to figure out what that is. And it went in when you're teaching. I know, because you do that for my 200-hour yoga certification. And I asked you, can you come and talk business? Because I get to be airy-fairy in my yoga. I don't get to be airy-fairy in my mortgage and money.
No.
You allowed us all to be grounded. Here's what you need to take a look at. Who's the staff you need? And don't be afraid to say, you know what, I think I need a virtual assistant, because it's getting exhausting.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's, that's something, for me, my HR stuff does keep me grounded in terms of, I do a lot of out there kind of practices, right? I'm doing like the the shamanic work, and I'm doing the energy healing and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to know how to do the other end of things.
Yeah.
You have to know how to do the business planning, and that how am I going to do my admin, and there's bookkeeping to be done, and there's how am I going to make sure that I get my marketing out properly, and what are the social media things that I need to know in order to make sure that's going out. What kind of entrepreneur like business networking things should I be involved in? All of them, just saying. Do you like Jack?
Exactly.
Do you like Jack? Who's involved in all of them?
And what's interesting is that, like in my mastermind group, if I don't know something like social media, when social media happened, clueless. At least I was honest enough to say I was clueless about it. And maybe there's something I should, because that looks like a future. That looks like something that I really do need to not be afraid of. So I joined an organization, and one of their committees was a social network, or was a social media committee. So I got to I sat on that committee for 4 years, and so that I could use it in my business. So they didn't know they were part of my mastermind. I think it's great to think that way, and know that there's other people sitting at that table who want to do social media for their business too, while we're with this organization. I just think it's a beautiful opportunity, because volunteering can be incredibly impactful.
Absolutely.
And you know all about volunteering.
I've done a fair bit. Yes. Yeah. And it is how I'm a big believer in meeting people. And you can meet a lot of people doing volunteer work, as well as getting involved in things in a way that is less stressful to learn things, much like you were talking about. So I remember being on boards of directors, and like stepping into working with scheduling for, I was on a recreational board when I was quite young, stepping into scheduling recreational activities, and, what activities work and what don't. And so that was kind of a skill that I didn't have at the time. So I was able to sort of pull that in as
Mm-hmm.
something that I was able to do. And then I end up with a job doing scheduling, you know, in scheduling personal support workers, you know, and now I'm scheduling
Wow.
classes and myself. So
Yeah.
you know, they're all things that you can bring forward. And that was all, a lot of that was learned through a volunteer position,
Very
right?
much so.
So it's amazing how much you can learn. Just look around for the opportunities.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, you can't volunteer your time all the time because, of
Yeah.
course, we do have our own energy things, which is just like money. Right? There's only so many hours in a day. We do have to
That's right.
keep
And there's
that in mind.
currency somewhere in there. Yep.
There is, so we do have to think about that. But volunteering can be hugely rich in
Oh,
learning, in
yeah.
meeting people, in stepping into things um, that you might not have been familiar with before.
Exactly.
So,
And winning awards, as in the Women's Business Network, Tanys nominating. I know we'll have time to talk about that one. That
it,
was
that was
great.
that was a great opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was certainly honored to be a finalist in that. It was very
Yeah.
unexpected, but that's the best kind. So it was lovely,
Oh, that was
lovely
excellent.
experience. Yeah. So,
So,
what do you think? If you had one sort of um, piece of advice for people who are feeling like overwhelmed by the acceleration, right? Like,
mhm.
what's the first step towards creating that stability that they can implement today? Because I know, I mean, when you start volunteering, you're getting at that schedule, right? So, and that's when we can really feel like overwhelmed and ungrounded because we're just going from one thing to another to another. So, how do we, what's one thing that you would tell people to help them to feel grounded and create stability
Yeah.
for their everyday lives?
And it's interesting. The expanding, sometimes for me, I just had too many chocolate chip cookies. However, I will take a moment and decide that if I decide to cultivate my confidence in expansion, sometimes you lose the idea of what you think success could be.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I take that moment and remember the confident actions that I've been taking to get to that place? And if I'm not quite there, why wouldn't I take that moment to know that um, I can trust myself? I can be, um, I, I, I recognize what self esteem is. I recognize that it's uh, a gift to get up in the morning and be able to sit up and say, as I lift my shoulders, take them back, drop them down. It is a gift. And now I have so many other gifts to give. So in business, in personal and spiritual, we have so many gifts to give. Sometimes we forget. And I've talked about this before. I write down my 5 successes of my day, whether that was in the morning or in the evening. When I look for that inner guidance to get me there, all of a sudden I'm not nearly as anxious. Things don't look nearly as chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
They look a little more uncluttered. If I choose to believe in me, that's the third energy, the third chakra, to believe in me, to allow the seventh chakra to say, I have the capabilities to teach and give and guide. Let's always understand that in business, we're there for a reason. We had an idea. We had an idea. And we went there without, let's hope, without second guessing over and over and over again. We went because we could stand our ground. And here it is. There are some pushes, some tugs, some and then you take a long deep breath, you have another glass of water, and you decide, I am worthy. I am worthy. My business is worthy. The global speaking opportunities are there. Take them. Ask.
Yeah. And if you don't, they'll probably tell you too, because that's what happened to me. I was in a meeting and we were planning the next conference, and all the speakers were already planned. And I was like, okay, cool.
Oh,
And I hadn't even thought about speaking at it, to be honest. I had just been going along and they had all
stop.
these people. And it was all planned. It was like a month before the conference. And the guides were saying to me, tell them you'll speak. And I'm thinking in my head, guys, like, it's already planned. What are you talking about? Tell them you'll speak. So I sort of said, so I'd love to speak at these one day. I mean, I know we're all planned for this time now, but I just, I'm interested if it's ever an opportunity. And they said, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we'll keep that in mind for next year. That's great, thank you. Not even 2 hours after that, one of the speakers backed in. So I was put in to speak. So it's amazing when you do bring them into your mastermind.
Exactly.
How that works.
Yeah.
Right? There's another practice that I wanted to mention actually, because it's something that we do in our channeling class, and it's called out picturing. And so when we go into our sanctuary, which is like our safe space in the astral, that's only for us, and we go there and we create this beautiful place for us with all sorts of things around. The nice thing to do would be when you collect things in that space, and you want to bring the qualities of energy that you're bringing in there into your everyday life, get some of the things that are in your sanctuary and actually create them and put them on your altar in your 3D life, right? Because it anchors some of that etheric or spiritual aspects or energies that you create out there, that you want to bring and ground into your everyday life. And so that's a great way to do it. It's like, okay, so I'm out here and I'm feeling this beautiful energy and I'm looking at this because this is creating this energy for me out here. Okay, I want to find one of these.
Me too.
And it can just be a representation of it, right? Yeah. So maybe it's about passion. You want to have a representation of the energy of passion. So you find something like this and you put it on your altar. You have it close, right? Rose quartz, fire, a flame. Talk about passion, right? So you just find a representation of that energy and have it around you, or if you have an altar, have it on your altar. It helps to attract that kind of energy to you because you're thinking about that energy when you see it. So that's another way to ground it.
Love that.
So,
like it. So I want to use that S word, and only for 3 reasons. Success. That's a great S word, success. As for money thoughts, I didn't talk a lot about it. However, treating money like energy, and we all know that. I wrote a book because money's energy.
It is.
Respect it. We talked about expansion. Respect the expansion. You planned for it. Continue planning for it. You visualized it because somewhere along the way, you wrote down somewhere that it was $1 million company when you had $10 in your pocket. You knew for a fact that fear would hold you back. So you chose to base your thoughts on something else. Mindful movement, success is mindful movements. That is because Tanys and I are both sitting on chairs. They have to be kind of comfortable because we do a lot of work from the chairs. I said kind of. But every day, so whether I'm in bed writing in my journal or at my desk at 5:30 in the morning, watching the sunrise, sitting at my desk, being mindful about what my day looks like. It could be even more where my success is the day before. It's a great way to start patterning your successes. And then I said 3. So the third success is the asanas. And I did say asanas, that's poses in yoga. That's body awareness. I know when I'm sitting tall in my chair, that's body awareness. When we talk about expanding, I need to be comfortable in my expansion. We do a whole lot of that in yoga. I got to tell you, we expand all over. But what I'm also going to say, that we need to use our breath. It's the key for expansion. So forever inhale, lift the shoulders, take them back, drop them down, because that bridges the physical and that bridges the spirituality. So those are my 3 successes I want to talk about.
That brings another thing in mind, actually, even just the breath. When we're talking about spiritual practices, and people can get really wound up into the spiritual, and they just want to know everything about it. And we can get what's called a burnt crystal. They're like overloaded on information, and they're not even sure what to do with it anymore. Is it running so up, and they're like,
I didn't even know there was such a thing as a burnt crystal.
Yeah, it's an affectionate.
Okay. Oh.
So it's like a pet name. So when somebody's done so much work, and they're like, it's time to integrate. Right? Yeah. It's time to integrate some of the knowledge that you've got. It's time to integrate that. So I often see people on their journey, they'll like go out of their comfort zone, and then they come back for a second, and they integrate, and then they go out and they expand again, and then they come back.
Yeah.
They integrate. And I think that's a really good practice for everybody. I think that the in ends up being further and further out when they do it. You're not coming right back to the baseline every time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that process of expansion and back. And that's kind of reminds me of the breath, right? You like
it is
expand and then
and let go
and kind of let go. So I think that is kind of our natural way of moving through spiritual practices as well as life. We kind of do that, and we need that integration period.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I'd like to share just a quick activation for people.
Oh, good.
We're sort of coming to the end of our show a little bit.
Because it's a full moon too. No one said we didn't talk about that. Isn't it?
Would you like to talk about that? I didn't.
We didn't.
I
maybe that's part of the activation.
Is it a full moon today? It's a new moon
tomorrow.
Was.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah, it's new moon tomorrow.
I jumped the gun.
You did. That's okay. New moon's all about new beginnings.
I love that.
So actually, it is very grounding, the new moon.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're grounding in new things, integrating new things.
Always.
So it goes very well with what we're doing. So this activation for today, what I want you to do is I just want you to repeat after me. I'm going to have you visualize a silver and gold light weaving through your energy field. And we're going to ask it to stabilize your foundations, right? While expanding the consciousness. So silver and gold, typically masculine, feminine. So we're bringing in that beautiful masculine, feminine energy. And that's all about balance, right? Having a balance of masculine, feminine energy. Doesn't matter what gender you are. It's about balance of those particular energies that is important. So we'll just have you close your eyes and take a deep breath in. As Jacqueline says, put your shoulders back, drop them down. One more deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just repeat after me, please. I am the bridge between earth and sky.
I am the bridge between earth and sky.
Stability roots me.
Stability roots me.
Expansion elevates me.
Expansion elevates me.
And together, they make me whole.
And together, they make me whole.
Just deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Open your eyes whenever you're ready. Knowing that we are all whole. We just have the illusion of not, right? We have the illusion that we're not stable, but we are. They are
Yes.
illusions, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have
I
anything else you would
appreciate
like
that.
to share? What are you up to this week? Is there anything that you want to bring forward for the viewers this week?
Yes. I am still delighted to be teaching uh, Hatha Yoga, Chair Yoga, with Twillow Academy. And all you need to do is click on twillowlifestyle.ca and find me. That's right. And find me. I I will have you breathe a little deeper in your life. And I know I'm supposed to remember the dates because we had so many. I think it was Friday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And Friday is at 5, Sunday's at 9:45. This is Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that you don't hold yourself back. Have a chair, have a wall, have your mat, have cushions. You will always have options. While I talk about headstands, you can stay seated in your Siddhasana. You could stand in Tadasana. You could lean on a wall. There's so many ways to invite yoga into your life. Beautiful, long, deep breaths. Also on Sundays, um, I teach yoga for your personal finances. So we've come into the third chapter, and it's never too late. It is never too late.
Mm-hmm.
So come on
So
in.
this week,
And so that's from 11 to 12:30.
mm-hmm. Awesome. What do I have going on? Um, we have some classes on the weekend, which you may find interesting. We have, so I think I want to share this stuff.
Oh, you have to. We need to
We're
know.
going to share this. So these are specials that we have right now. And we'll do this. It's special this week. Okay. Please let us know where you have heard this. Okay. Because we did put this out in other places. So we're going to want to know how you found out about this. But we do have on the 22nd, we have 2 free classes. One of them is with Jennifer Tchaikovsky, and it is the Success Codex. So this is related to the I Ching, and it's finding out what it is that can create success for you. Okay, so that's a fun one.
Isn't that
That
interesting? We were just talking about success.
it is.
Jennifer didn't tell me to say success over and over again. She didn't ask me to do that.
No,
No,
you did it because
because we know that on the 22nd I'm going to be there.
yeah, me too. So the 22nd at 3 p.m. Success Codex,
Yeah.
the Codex Success stuff with Jen, and then at what have I got it at 4:30, I believe.
Yeah.
Is sorry, I just got way ahead of myself here. 4:30. If you are playing with crystals but not sure what to do with them, I am doing a 1-hour class for that. So these are both 1-hour classes that we're offering. Both of them are free. And Jacqueline has a code for a free yoga class as well between now and the end of November.
Yeah.
And so the coupon code for that is free yoga.
Shocking.
And the code is free yoga. Okay. So please join us
Yeah.
for those. We're putting it out there because we just want to share, share stuff with you guys, and we'd love to have you join us. Okay. So those are the 22nd of November, in case you're watching this after 2025. And it's from now till the end of November 2025 that Jack has that free yoga coupon code.
Love it.
So looking forward to seeing you all there.
What a treat.
Come
what
and
a
join
treat.
Us. And yeah, I think that brings us to the end of our show. Until next week, don't forget to join Jen and I on Twillow Talk on Monday at 5. And stay tuned for some other ones that I'll be putting up soon because I'm working on a couple of other shows too right now.
Wow.
So take care. And we shall see you all very soon. Final word of wisdom, Jack?
Yeah, I'm just understand that The essence of balance, earth, and ether is why we had this episode, so that we could talk about what you can do to step into your personal power. From ether to earth, and they all come together.
In embodiment.
Namaste. Yeah.
Namaste. We'll see you all next week. Next time.